everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show David Steele, and he's a marriage and family therapist and relationship coach and founder of the Relationship Coaching Institute. And I'm so excited to have him here today because today we're talking about how to use the law of attraction to attract the right man. But before we jump into it, David, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you and how you became a relationship coach and a marriage and family therapist.
Oh, gosh. Well, Suzanne, thank you for having me on your show, by the way. But this is a very long story. I'll try to keep it short. I became a marriage and family therapist because my parents divorced when I was a kid. And I really wanted to be happy, didn't know how, very unhappy childhood. Oh, it was awful. So I became a professional marriage and family therapist to learn how to do that. But as a marriage and family therapist, what you do is you work with couples when they're in trouble. And after 10 or more years of doing that, I was burning out and saying, well, I'm passionate about marriage, I'm passionate about relationships, and, I want to find the love of my life for myself, and I got divorced twice during that time. So the emerging field of coaching was coming around the scene around 1995, 1996. I got really, really excited about it, and I decided this is the future of where we need to go to help people have successful relationships. So long story short, I became a relationship coach myself. I founded the Relationship Coaching Institute to train relationship coaches because I really do think this is the new hope for singles and couples.
Awesome. And you're the author of 2 books. Tell us the 2 books that you're an author of.
Right here, this is Conscious Dating. I wrote this and put in everything I've learned about how to find the love of your life when you're single. And after doing it myself, I found my soulmate when I was 50. And after training relationship coaches and working with hundreds, thousands of singles, there's a lot in that book. And then my wife and I, last year, we wrote Radical Marriage together, which is your relationship as the greatest adventure. It's like if you have a good relationship, how can you make it great? Because as coaches, that's where we're at. We don't work with people when they're screwed up. We work with people that are, you're doing okay, but you want your life to be great. And how do you get there? That's what we do.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's find out how women can use the law of attraction to attract the right man. Can you give us your 3 best tips?
Yeah, it's really hard to narrow it down to 3, but here they are. Okay, with my notes. Number 1, be ready. Number 2, don't settle. Number 3, take risk. So what that means is when you are ready, I'm ready for a relationship. I want to find the love of my life. I'm available. I'm not dating anybody else. I'm not involved with anybody else. But what singles do a lot is they hook up with people and then they're involved, right? They're not really single. They're not really available. So you have to kind of clear the deck and be available. Stay single. But, it's hard to do. You feel lonely sometimes. You feel discouraged and frustrated. So you need to get the support you need to be available, but be ready. Be totally, totally ready. And part of being ready, I strongly believe, is we need to be clear about our requirements and our needs and our wants, especially our requirements. That is the deal breakers. What do you got to have? What's going to break up the relationship if you don't have it? So the other thing is don't settle. Once you know who you are and what you want, your requirements, needs, and your wants, don't settle for less. This is where I've gotten into trouble. I've been divorced twice. I've had many failed relationships because, honestly, I didn't feel worthy of 100%. I didn't feel worthy of having what I really wanted. I didn't even think what I really wanted was even possible. It was a dream out there. So I've settled all my life. And it wasn't until I finally got it that doesn't work. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy that when you accept less, you get less, right? So don't settle even a little bit. And that's scary because I know I had the thought, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. However, I was so tired of settling, I was actually angry. Say, forget it, and I had a new mantra that came out of that anger, which is, I'd rather be single than settle. And that really did it for me. Once I focused on that, I'd rather be single than settle. I'm not going to settle even a little bit. I'm going to go after 100% of what I really want. 3 months later, found it.
So I think you make a great point about your requirements, needs, and wants, right? But I want to talk more about that because one of the things that I see as a matchmaker is I will see people's list of requirements, needs, and wants being a little too in depth where it's almost like nobody can meet their list of requirements, needs, and wants. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think some people will make the mistake, though, also of going to the other extreme of they're so picky that they're never going to meet the right person.
Okay, well, great question. It comes from your vision. It comes from who you are and what you want, what your dream is. You're looking to have a certain experience of your life and of a relationship and of love. And what does that look like for you? And who's the partner that would be your perfect ideal partner to match that? Mm-hmm. And from that, you make your list. Now, all singles have their list. It doesn't necessarily come from their vision. It comes from, I don't want this and I don't want that, and I got it. Okay, that's okay. Make your list. And make it as long as possible. Don't worry about having it too much. And then break it up into requirements, needs, and wants. And the way you do that is requirements are the deal breakers. That you would absolutely break off this relationship if it wasn't met. Absolutely. It's black or white. It's unambiguous. The energy is so strong. Like, Suzanne, would you accept a relationship if your partner wanted to sleep around on you?
No.
You have very firm, strong energy about that.
Exactly.
That's exactly the measure of a requirement. Mm-hmm. And if there's any, and here's a test question. I love this test question. Suzanne, if you fell in love and you really, 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 really wanted this to be the one and you really wanted to work, mm-hmm. would you accept him sleeping around on you?
No.
Okay. See, that's the test question. If you fell in love, I'm in love, and I really want it to work. That's how we feel, right?
Right.
We're attached. Our whole being and our emotions are involved in this relationship. Mm-hmm. We really want it to work. But if this was missing, or if this wasn't happening, or if this was happening, I would have to break it off.
Okay.
There's things like people want children. Well, Suzanne, if you fell in love and you really wanted it to work, but he didn't want to have children, and you really did, and that was a requirement for you, would you have to break it off? The answer would be yes, if it's a requirement.
Right.
Now, if I ask you that same question and you say, well, maybe we can work it out, then it's not a requirement. Then you drop it into the need column.
Got it.
Now, needs are the difference between happiness and unhappiness. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily cause a relationship breakup. A lot of it is solvable. There's some that's unsolvable, but even if it's unsolvable, you can live with it.
Right.
And then there's wants, and wants are the icing on the cake. Wants are what make life enjoyable. I want somebody tall, dark, handsome, and rich, who loves to ski and travel around the world. Those are all wants. The reality is that you can have a fulfilling relationship and not have any of those met. So that's sort of the difference. And so in relationship coaching, we apply test questions to each one to determine what's a requirement, what's a need, what's a want. And requirements are key. And what I found over the years is that there's a certain average number of requirements that people have. And it's not a million. We start off with a long list. By the time we whittle it down into what your absolute core requirements are, what would you guess would be the about average?
5, 10?
Really good guess. Between 8 and 12.
There you go.
Generally. I've seen people have as few as 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. I've seen people have as much as 15. It's whatever it is. And you have to know and believe that you absolutely can find a relationship in which all your requirements can be met. Right. 100% of them. Don't settle even a little bit. The killer is what I call the 80% relationship. And this is what I've done all my life. I've gotten into a relationship saying, this is a great relationship, this is a great person, 80% of what I want is here. But then there's that 20%, oh man, well, maybe we can make it work, love conquers all. we'll see. Well, it's the 20% that really causes you not to be happy.
But you're saying the 20% of the requirements, not 20% of, say, the wants, right?
The whole package.
Okay.
It's the 80% relationship is this is 80% of what I'm looking for, 20% of is missing, and it could be requirements or needs or wants. Requirements are so key. If one is missing, it's not going to work.
Right. But
So,
if say 20% of the wants, and the reason why I'm focusing on this is because you brought up a great point, is I want a man who's tall, dark, and handsome. Yeah, we all want that. But if he's not tall and he has a different color hair, maybe it's a little green or whatever it is that really what's going to be a deal breaker? Should we actually say, I'm not going to settle for that? Should I move on?
No, because they're wants.
Exactly. And that's what I want women to understand is that while those things are nice to have, it's not going to make or break a relationship.
Right. You do not make your life decisions or your relationship decisions based on wants.
Okay. That's what I wanted them to hear. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Well, these have been some great tips. So, David, tell our audience how they can find you.
Well, hold on. I promised 3. I've covered 2. First is be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Know who you are, what you want, requirements, needs, and wants. Be ready and available. The second is don't settle, even a little bit, especially on your requirements. The third is take risk.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take risk. You got to get out there. It's like let's say you prefer blondes, but this guy has black hair. Take a chance. Take risks. Many people, we want to stay in our comfort zone, and that keeps us trapped. So get out of your comfort zone and take a risk. Go for it.
Exactly. I love that last tip because I see too many people stay within their comfort zone and they're like, well, why is it not happening? If you keep doing things the same way, you're going to keep getting the same results.
Exactly.
Well, great. These have been some great tips. So, David, tell our audience how they can find you.
Go to consciousdating.com and everything you need to know is there.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. If you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you would like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man based on scientific research, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.